Students are now having to go to extraordinary new lengths to afford their college textbooks, according to a new survey. Now, this survey was done by Morning Consult on behalf of Cengage, which is an online textbook company. Now, the results of this are very discouraging, especially if you are in college yourself, which you already know the pain of buying books, or if you are sending, for example, your kid to college. Now, it turns out that 71% of college students, because of the cost of textbooks themselves, had to ask their parents for money. Like, hey, my book is over $300. I need your help. Not only that, it gets worse. 41% apparently had to skip meals in order to save up money for textbooks. That's not including tuition, but just the textbooks themselves. Wow. And of course, 31%, nearly a third, had to take fewer classes so that they could afford their reading material. Now, wow. Now, of course, the question is fairly obvious, and so is the answer. But why? Well, just like the cost of college, the cost of textbooks has risen dramatically since the 1970s. For example, I got a chart for you guys that I want to go over. Here we go. And this is from just January of 1998 to July of 2018. The cost of textbooks has risen 191%. Now, since 1978, the cost of textbooks has actually risen over 1,000%. Look, these are the costs that are borne by younger people in college. So if you're wondering why, oh, these lazy millennials, they're still staying at home, they're sleeping on their parents' couch, and they're not doing anything, and they're spending all their money on lattes and avocado toast. No, that's not true. They are literally skipping meals in order to pay for their textbooks, or taking out enormous loans, which of course they'll have to pay back later with interest. That will probably take them the rest of their lives to pay off. This is what we're doing to our young people. This is what we're doing to the youngest generation. We are saddling up with them with so much debt that they'll never have a chance to pay it off. Combine that with stagnant wages that we have seen since at least the Reagan administration. The lack of union rights, the lack of competitive pay, the lack of good paying jobs. There are plenty of jobs out there, but are they good paying jobs? And most likely, no. Not compared to how much it costs, especially in larger cities like LA, San Francisco, New York, and Seattle. Even a living wage there, $15 an hour, is actually not a living wage. And you wonder why millennials have an incredibly hard time and why millennials are deeply, deeply cynical. Not only that, but the vast majority of current and former college students say that their textbooks are overpriced. And 85% said buying their books is somewhat financially stressful. I would say that probably 100% should say that they're absolutely financially stressful. Now, of the 1,651 current and former students surveyed, a majority also told Morning Consult that they didn't buy what was required, purchased outdated copies, or shared with classmates. So that's what they've had to do. So you understand, millennials growing up in the economy post-2008, the financial crisis, we've had to get smart. We've had to get savvy. There's always these questions, why aren't millennials buying diamonds? Why are they going to Applebee's? It's because we grew up having less opportunity than our parents. We're not doing what our parents' generation was able to do. We're not raising families. We're not buying new cars. We're not buying new houses. Most of us can't afford to do so. And a lot of us look at that and say, what's the point? That's why you see Uber, ride sharing. That's why you see places like I forget, B&B, right? I think I got that wrong, but so it's places where you can, basically rent out a room so that people can stay, and you end up getting money for it. So I don't know why, but I can't remember the name. But that's why you have this sharing economy. It's not because millennials are so different and they want to do this stuff. It's because we have to. It's because we grew up in an economic mess that we did not create. And you want to know the reason that college tuition has increased? It's because the states stopped paying for it. The states and the federal government have pulled back so much money out of higher education. They do not consider it a priority anymore to fund these public colleges and universities. And so all that cost has come on to us. And you can see the result of that in this study. And of course, as I said before, millennials are savvy now. There's all these places that let you rent textbooks and do that. But it's still, combined with a high cost of college, it's making it so that there's a generation of people that just can't afford to be educated anymore. And that's what's going on here. Is there any wonder why students have skipped meals? As I said before, the cost of undergrad education is now 12 times higher than it was 40 years ago. That outpaces inflation, while the index price of college tuition and fees went up by more than 1,122% since 1978. That's why they're skipping meals. It's not avocado toast that's bankrupting kids. It's the incredibly high price of basically everything. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.